You like how it fits me, Daddy?
Take those off, you fucking crazy bitch!
Hello everyone, you are on Channel Rewatch. Today I will explain a psychological thriller movie called Knock Knock from 2015. Attention! Spoilers ahead. Due to work in a physical therapy session due to a shoulder injury, architect and happily married man Evan Weber, on Father's Day weekend, he and his dog Monkey get the home to themselves, while his wife and children go on a family-planned beach excursion. Karen, a prominent artist, entrusts her sculpture to their helper, Louis, who must transport it to an art show. Evan works on graphics for an ongoing house project alone in his lovely and opulent home. Genesis and Belle, two young women, approach his home door that evening. He answers the door, and they claim they're seeking the address of a party, but the cab driver dumped them off since their phone died. Evan lets them use the internet and contact the party's host, because they have no other means of communication. Evan offers to phone an Uber driver for them, and they've found the correct address, but the nearest driver will come in 45 minutes. In the meantime, the girls settle in, and Evan spins a couple of his old vinyl songs from his days as a disc jockey. They tell Evan about their professions as flight attendants and how they indulge in sexual activities with a different guy in every location they fly to. The subject rapidly leads to their views on human polygamy. They then escape into the toilet, where a wary Evan discovers them nude and yearning for him when the driver finally comes. Evan, enraged, attempts to get them to leave, but as they start pushing themselves on him, he caves and joins them in a threesome. The next day, Evan finds them enjoying breakfast and watching Family Feud, seemingly unconcerned about leaving. Finally, frustrated, he offers to drive them home because they refuse to take the cab.
You have 3 minutes! I'll be outside!
When Evan arrives home, he discovers that his wife's sculpture has been destroyed, which Louis had intended to collect for the art gallery. When Evan threatens to contact the cops, the girls admit that they are under 18. Demonstrating that they have authority over him, or face being charged with sexual behavior with a child. Karen's friend Vivian drops by to check whether Evan has any assistance. When Vivian sees Genesis, she becomes enraged and flees, believing Evan is cheating on Karen. Evan, stunned, attempts to make sense of the scene after realizing that everything the female said was a lie to lure him into bed. They surrender and consent to be escorted home when Evan threatens to report a break-in. He purportedly drops them off at an expensive area where they reside. Evan comes home, cleans up the messes, and resumes his job. He hears a shattering boom just as he is getting close to finishing his assignment. As he is presumably alone indoors, he searches for the source of the disturbance. After noticing a broken photo frame of his family, Genesis knocks him out with one of his wife's sculptures. The two evil ladies bind Evan and search his family's possessions. Belle crawls on top of him, pretending to be a schoolgirl in his daughter's clothing in an attempt to excite him. The girls threaten to FaceTime Evan's wife with him in a compromising position if he refuses. Evan, despite his distaste, recognizes that moving on the bed will lessen his bonds, so he goes along with it. Belle semi-rapes him, and Genesis, unknowing, records it all. After a few minutes, Evan finally lets go and leaps at Belle, knocking her off her feet. Next, he charges Genesis, who uses a fork to stab him in the injured shoulder. She then pins him on the ground, and the two females tie him up with an electrical line to a chair. Louis arrives later to receive the sculpture Karen has entrusted to him. The girls borrow Evan's phone and text Louis, informing him that his niece and friend would stay with him. Evan is locked up in a room. Louis unlocks the door using the keys. When he discovers the vandalized sculpture, he panics and understands that these females lie about Evan's relationship. Louis then finds Evan bound to a chair. Still, the girls shatter the ruined sculpture before he can assist him. He rushes to stop them, but suffers from an asthma attack and discovers that they have taken his inhaler. As he tries to regain his inhaler from the girls, he tripped on a piece of sculpture and falls to his death. Genesis and Belle transform Louis's body into a crimson sculpture and want to burn Evan in a makeshift grave in the garden. They also inform him that they've been spying on him for some days already. He fails in many attempts to make an emergency call and flee the premises. They bind him with a hose and then bury him, only his head above the ground. Genesis shows Evan the video of him and Belle having sex that she took with his phone earlier. She posts it to Evan's Facebook profile as he's watching in horror. They eventually spare Evan's life, rejecting the thought of executing him in the same way they killed Lewis. The two sinister women eventually leave, taking the dog Monkey with them, leaving a broken Evan to his fate of trying to dig himself out of the hole he's buried in, while watching the uploaded video and reading the comments, which reveal that it was all a game, and that they're used to duping fathers into situations like this. When Karen and her kids return home, they find the house has been completely demolished. Evan's son remarks, "Daddy had a party," but Karen keeps silent.